The station kept shaking lightly, as if something deep inside it was struggling. The soft lights in the room blinked on and off, and the soft hum of the air system changed to a strange, slow beat. Jack's heart raced. He knew that sound. It meant that the station's power core was under serious stress. Selra moved closer to the window and looked out at the stars. Some of the station's outer lights were dark now. Parts of Unity Nexus were losing power. "Jack," she said quietly, "what is happening?" "I think the station's systems are failing, but this isn't normal." "Maybe something is attacking the power core," Jack answered. He grabbed his toolkit. Skin patterns. Flickered with worry. "Who would do this?" Jack shook his head. "I don't know. But if we don't fix it soon, life support will shut down. We won't have air or heat." Suddenly, their door opened. A Scifi guard stood there, his face serious. "Human, the council calls you." "Now," the guard said. His voice was firm, but not angry. Jack and Sayla followed the guard through. The dim halls, the station felt strange now. The usual soft sounds of machines working smoothly were gone. In their place was a low hum, like something was wrong deep in the walls. When they entered the council chamber, Jack saw more Scifi gathered. Some were whispering to each other. The elders sat with serious faces. Vorin, the elder who had spoken before, raised his hand for silence. "We face danger," he said. "Our systems fail. Our engineers cannot stop the attack. We believe an enemy has sent a virus to harm us." Another elder spoke. "Some believe this is linked to the human, to his strange tools. His roommates saw him with dangerous equipment. Now we suffer. Can this be a sign?" Jack felt his face grow hot. "I didn't do this. I would never harm this station. My tools are for repairs, not damage." Selra stepped forward, her voice clear. "The human speaks the truth. I have seen him work. His tools fix, they do not break. This is not his doing." In the room still looked at Jack with doubt in their eyes. They saw him as different as someone who might bring harm without meaning to. Vorin looked at Selra. "You defend him?" "I do," she said. "I believe he can help us. Your engineers use biomachines. This attack is digital. A machine virus. The human knows such things." There was a long silence. Jack could feel the weight of many eyes on him. Finally, Vorin spoke again. "We give him a chance. Human Jack Harlow. Will you try to save this station?" Jack nodded. "I will. I'll need my tools, and I'll need Selra's help. She knows the Scifi systems better than I do." Selra looked surprised, but she stepped to his side. "I will help." Jack and Selra moved quickly through the station. The guard stayed close, making sure they had safe passage. Many doors no longer opened with a simple touch. Jack had to use his tools the Scifi had feared too. Force them open. They reached the main power chamber. The room was filled with strange shapes, living machines that pulsed with light, part plant, part metal. But many of them were dark now. The virus was winning. Jack pulled out his scanner and began to study the systems. The virus was clever. It had found a way to confuse the biomachines, making them stop their work. "I've never seen tech like this," asked ChatGPT. Jack Harlow stood in the long hallway of Unity Nexus, the giant space station that floated between human and alien territories. He held his small bag of personal things, and he felt tired after his long shift fixing station panels. Jack was an engineer, one of many humans who kept the old parts of the station working. Today was supposed to be a good day. He was finally moving into proper living quarters after months of sleeping in a small bunk near the engine rooms. But there was a small problem. When he reached the door of his new room, he saw the notice. "Shared housing assigned due to station. Housing limits. Roommate, Scifi, exchange citizen." Read the note again. A Scifi? He had heard of the Scifi. They were aliens who looked like tall, thin humans with pale blue skin, large dark eyes, and soft patterns that moved across their skin when they felt strong emotions. The Scifi were peaceful and very smart. They used advanced biomachines, and their culture was full of rules and customs. Jack sighed. He wasn't upset. He just hoped he wouldn't break any of those rules by mistake. He pressed his hand to the door pad, and it opened with a soft hiss. The room was much better than his bunk. It was clean and had enough space for a small table, 2 beds, and a large window that showed the stars. Jack dropped his bag on one bed and looked around. The door opened again, and Sailra entered. She moved gracefully, her long robes flowing behind her. Her skin had soft silver-blue patterns that glowed faintly under the room's lights. She stopped when she saw Jack. They stared at each other for a moment. Jack gave a small smile and said, "Hello, I guess we're roommates." Sailra tilted her head slightly, as if studying him. Then she spoke, her voice soft and musical. "Yes, I am Sailra of the Scifi. I greet you, human engineer. Jack Harlow." "Yes, Jack is fine," he said. She nodded politely. Then she placed a small device on her side of the room, a living plant machine that seemed to grow into the wall and form a kind of storage space. Jack watched with interest. "I hope this is acceptable to you," she said, noticing his look. "No problem. At all." "That's amazing tech," Jack said, honestly. They spent the next few minutes quietly arranging their things. Jack set up his tool case on his side of the room. It was nothing special, just human engineering tools. A small fusion welder, a few scanning devices, some hand tools, and a data pad for repair orders. He kept everything clean and neat. Sailra watched him now and then, her large eyes curious, but she did not speak. Over the next few days, Jack and Sailra lived together without trouble. They didn't speak much, but they were polite. Jack noticed that Sailra always seemed to be studying him from the corner of her eye. She watched him work on small devices or clean his tools. But when he looked at her, she would turn away, as if embarrassed. Jack didn't mind. He guessed that she was just interested in human ways. After all, he was interested in Scifi ways, too. Sometimes watched her tending to her plant machines. They changed shape slowly, growing and adjusting to her needs. It was like art mixed with technology. One evening, Jack was working on a small power relay he had brought from the engine room. It had a tricky fault he wanted to fix. His tool case was open on the table, and his fusion welder lay next to the relay. The door hissed open, and Sailra entered. She froze at the sight before her. Her dark eyes grew wide, and the patterns on her skin changed quickly, turning bright silver with streaks of deep blue colors Jack had never seen on her before. Jack blinked in surprise. "Sailra, are you okay?" Sailra took a step back, staring at the fusion welder. She seemed to be in shock. I did not know," she whispered, her voice shaking, "that you possess such dangerous things." Jack looked down at the welder. It's just a tool. I use it for repairs." But Sailra was already backing toward the door, her face full of fear and confusion. The patterns on her skin pulsed faster. I must go," she said, and without another word she left the room. Jack sat there, confused and worried. What had just happened? He picked up the fusion welder and looked at it. It was standard human engineering gear. Nothing dangerous unless you misused it. But for some reason, Sailra had reacted as if it was a weapon. He stared at the door she had just gone through. "This is going to be a problem," he said softly to himself. Outside in the hallway, Sailra leaned against the wall, trying to calm herself. Her heart raced. She had never imagined a human civilian would have access to such powerful technology. On her world, devices like that were controlled, locked away, only allowed in the hands of trained warriors or high engineers. What? Did this mean she didn't know? But she was sure she had to report it, and that thought filled her with dread. Jack couldn't stop thinking about Sailra's reaction. The image of her wide eyes and the strange bright patterns flashing on her skin stayed in his mind. He had seen many Scifi on the station, but never had he seen their skin change so fast or to such sharp colors. He sat on his bed, the small fusion welder resting in his hands. He turned it over, as if hoping it would give him answers. To him, it was just a tool away to fix broken parts, seal metal, or cut through jammed Doors? Why had Sailra looked at it like it was a deadly weapon? The door opened softly. Jack looked up, hoping it was Sailra coming back. But it was another human officer, Ruiz, one of the station's security team, Jack Harlow. "Oh," Ruiz asked, stepping inside. "Yeah, that's me," Jack said, standing up. "I need you to come with me. The Scifi Council wishes to speak too." "You," Ruiz said, his voice calm but serious. Jack frowned. "About what? This about my roommate?" Ruiz nodded. "She reported something, don't worry. Just come and explain things." Jack grabbed his jacket and followed Ruiz through the station. As they walked, Jack noticed more Scifi than usual in the halls. They watched him quietly, their dark eyes unreadable. Some stood in small groups, whispering to each other. Jack felt a knot form in his stomach. What was going on? They reached a large chamber deep inside the station. The room belonged to the Scifi Council. The walls were smooth and curved, with soft blue light glowing from the ceiling. Strange plants grew along the edges, their leaves pulsing gently as if alive. At the far end, 3 Scifi elders sat behind a curved table. Their robes were silver and white, and their skin patterns moved slowly, showing calm but deep thought. Sailra stood to one side, her head slightly bowed. She did not look at Jack. Ruiz stopped at the door. "They will speak to you now," he said quietly. Jack stepped forward. One of the elders, a tall Scifi named Vorin, spoke first. His voice was deep and smooth. "Human Jack Harlow. We ask you to tell us about the tool you keep in your quarters, the one your roommate witnessed." Jack took a breath. "It's just a fusion welder, sir. I use it for work. I'm an engineer here on Unity Nexus. I fix power lines, doors, machines. It's not a weapon." The elder nodded slowly. "Perhaps. For a human, it is common. But for us, this device is seen only in the hands of our most trusted protectors. Our laws forbid civilians from keeping or seeing such tools. Your roommate was shocked because she believed herself in danger." Jack looked at Sailra. "I didn't mean to scare her. I didn't know about your laws. On Earth, we use these tools every day. No harm was meant." Sailra lifted her eyes for a moment and met his gaze. There was uncertainty in her look, but also a bit of relief. Another elder spoke now. "It is clear you did not intend offense, but we must consider the safety of our people. There is unrest now. Some Scifi on this station believe you have broken trust." Jack felt cold inside. "What happens now?" Vorin answered. "We will discuss. For now, we ask that you stay in your quarters. Do not leave until we call you again." Jack returned to his room, his mind full of worry. He sat down at the table and stared out the window. The stars outside seemed farther away than ever. Hours passed. Jack kept thinking about what he could have done differently. Maybe he should have hidden his tools better. Maybe he should have told Sailra about them sooner. The door opened, and to Jack's surprise, Sailra stepped inside. "Jack," she said softly. He stood up. "Sailra, are you okay? I'm sorry I scared you." She shook her head. "You did not try to harm me. I see that now. I let fear guide my actions. Spoke to the council because I thought it was right, but now I am not sure." Jack smiled. "A little. It's okay. I understand. Our people are different. I don't want any trouble between us." She stepped closer. "I did not know humans could own such tools so freely. On my world, such things are kept from the common people. They are dangerous in the wrong hands." Jack nodded. "I get it. On Earth, we trust people to use tools wisely. If they don't, we have rules for that." They stood in silence for a moment. Suddenly, the room lights flickered. The station shuddered slightly under their feet. Jack grabbed the table for balance. "What was that?" Sailra asked, her voice tight with worry. Jack's hand went to his. "Communicator. Let me check." But before he could call anyone, an alarm sounded across the station. Cold voice spoke over the system. "Warning, core systems failure. Power grid under attack. Life support at risk." Mike and Sailra looked at each other. The fear in her eyes returned, but this time, it wasn't because of him. Jack stared at the heart of the station's power room. Its Strange shapes filled the space. Scifi biomachines that usually glowed with soft light, now dark and still. Some pulsed weakly, as if fighting to stay alive. The soft hum of power that should fill the room was gone. Instead, there was only silence and the slow flicker of emergency lights. Selra stood beside him, her skin patterns pale and dim. Jack knew this meant she was scared. She was trying to stay strong. "I've never seen tech like this," Jack said quietly. His eyes moved over the plant-like machines, looking for anything familiar. "But I know systems." "Is sick. The virus has spread fast." Selra nodded. "The virus confuses the biomachines. They do not understand the signals anymore. They do not know how to act." Jack opened his tool case, pulled out his fusion welder, the same tool. That had scared Selra so much. This time, she did not flinch. She understood that he needed it to help. "I'll try to cut a path through the damaged lines. If I can connect your systems to the backup grid, we can buy time." Selra watched as Jack worked. The fusion welders. Bright beam lit the room as he carefully opened panels and cut through broken parts. His hands were steady, his face calm. Jack had done work like this many times, but never on a machine so different from human ones. The biomachines reacted. In strange ways, some shifted slightly as if they felt the heat of the welder. Others seemed to try to grow new parts, only to stop as the virus blocked them. "This is harder than I thought," Jack muttered. Selra moved closer. "Let me guide you. I can help you understand where to cut, where to join." Together, they worked. Jack used his tools with care, and Selra pointed out the places where the biomachines might respond. Slowly, they made progress. But then the room shook. A new alarm filled the air, a deep, angry sound. "Warning. Life support systems at critical level. Oxygen loss in outer ring." Jack looked at Selra. "We're running out of time." She nodded. "If we fail, many will die." Jack found the main control node, a strange mass of plant wires and glowing sacs. It pulsed weakly. "This must be the core of the system," Jack said. He scanned it with his device. The virus was strong here, filling the node with false signals. "I can try to break the virus code," Jack said, thinking fast. "But it would be faster if I could link it to human systems. Our code breakers could help." Selra hesitated. "It is not our way to join systems. But I see no other choice." Jack smiled slightly. "Thanks for trusting me." He connected his data pad to the node. His human code tools started to work, fighting the virus bit by bit. The biomachine responded. The lights grew stronger, the hum of power returning little by little. Suddenly Selra gasped. A group of Scifi entered the room. Warriors, their skin patterns sharp with anger and fear. "What are you doing here?"
There.
Leader demanded. "You bring human tools into the sacred power room? You link human systems to ours? This is forbidden." Jack stood up. "I'm trying to save the station." The leader stepped closer. "Or destroy it. We saw the human with dangerous equipment. Our systems fail. Can you not see the truth?" Selra stepped between Jack and the warriors. "You are wrong. He is saving us. Without him, we would already be lost." The warriors hesitated. The room's lights grew ChatGPT. The power room glowed brighter as Jack's human tools worked side by side with the Scifi biomachines. The angry hum of the virus faded bit by bit. Jack wiped sweat from his forehead and kept his eyes on his data pad. Selra stood at his side, pointing out weak points in the system where Jack's tools could help the most. Together they formed a team, something that neither of them had expected when they first became roommates. The Scifi warriors watched in silence now. The anger and fear in their eyes slowly changed into something else, respect. They saw how the humans' strange tools, the same ones they had feared, were saving their home. Jack didn't look up. His hands moved quickly as he patched a new connection into the control node. "If I can link the backup power fully, the biomachines will have enough energy to heal themselves," he said. Selra nodded. "The living machines can fight the virus, but they were too weak before. Now they can try." A deep hum filled the room as the power flow increased. The biomachines began to glow with soft blue and green light. Jack could almost feel them coming back to life. "We're getting there," he said, hope filling his voice. But suddenly his datapad flashed a red warning. The virus was trying one last attack. It aimed at the life support system, trying to shut down the airflow across the station. "We have to stop this now," Jack said. He turned to the Scifi warriors. "If you can guide me to the life support node, I can break the viruses." Last move, the leader of the warriors who had doubted him before stepped forward. "Follow me, human. We will help." Jack, Scifi, and the Scifi warriors ran through the station's halls. The air felt thin already. The virus's attack had weakened the system so much that every breath was harder than the last. They reached the life support control room. The door was jammed shut. Jack knelt and used his fusion welder to cut it open. The warriors watched in awe as the tool they had feared so much worked like magic, slicing through metal with ease. Inside, the life support node was dark and cold. The virus had done its work here. Jack connected his datapad again. His fingers moved fast as he typed commands and tried to break the virus's hold. Selra watched the biomachines closely. "The node is trying to heal," she said softly, "but it needs help." Jack nodded. "I'll give it all the help I can." The virus fought back, sending false signals to confuse the system. But Jack's human code tools were strong, cut through the lies and cleared the path for the biomachines to do their work. Little by little, the life support node began to glow again. The air system started to hum as fresh oxygen flowed back through the station. "We did it," Jack said, his voice full of relief. Selra smiled, and for the first time the patterns on her skin glowed with soft, peaceful colors. Later, in the council chamber, the Scifi elders stood before Jack and Selera. Vorin spoke. "Human Jack Harlow, today you have shown us that what we feared could be a blessing. Your tools, your skills, and your heart saved our people. We thank you." Jack bowed his head. "Only did what anyone would do. I'm glad I could help," another elder added. "Selera, you stood with him when others doubted. Your courage. Help to see the truth?" Selra lowered her head in respect. "It was Jack who taught me that fear should not rule over wisdom." The Scifi warriors who had once doubted Jack came forward now. They placed their hands on his shoulders, a sign of respect in their culture. "From this day," Vorin said, "we will work together. Human tools and Scifi biomachines will join as one. Your welder, your scanner symbols of fear to us. Before are now symbols of friendship." That night, Jack and Salisk, ChatGPT. The stars outside the window of Jack and Selra's quarters seemed brighter that night. The station was calm again. The power hum was steady, and the air flowed smooth and clean. Jack sat by the window, looking out at the endless black of space. Feeling the weight of the last few days slowly lift from his shoulders, Selra entered the room quietly. She watched Jack for a moment before speaking. "You did well, Jack," she said softly. Her skin patterns glowed with gentle blue and silver, showing peace and respect. Jack smiled a little. "We both did, Selra. I couldn't have saved the station without you." She sat down across from him. "When I first saw your tools, I felt fear. I thought you were dangerous. But now I see I was wrong. You were never the danger. The danger was in our fear and our unwillingness to understand each other." Jack nodded. "I didn't know your people had such strong rules about technology. On Earth, tools are just tools. What matters is how you use them." Selra looked thoughtful. "On my world, our history taught us to fear certain tools. Long ago, our people used them in ways that hurt many. So we locked them away, and we taught all to be careful. But perhaps we became too careful. We forgot that tools can heal as well as harm." Jack stood up and walked to his tool case. He opened it and took out his fusion welder, the very tool that had started all the trouble. He turned it over in his hands, then held it out to Selra. "Would you like to try it?" he asked with a kind smile. Selra hesitated, but then slowly she reached out and took the tool. It felt strange and heavy in her hands. Jack guided her fingers to the switch. "Go ahead," he said. Won't hurt anything. She pressed the switch, and the tool came to life with a soft, bright beam. Selra's eyes widened, but this time not with fear, with wonder. "It's beautiful," she said. Jack laughed gently. "Yeah, it's helped me save a lot of systems over the years now. It helped save your people." She turned it off and handed it back to him. "Thank you for showing me this. For trusting me. And thank you for trusting me in the end," Jack said. Days passed, and the story of Jack and Selra spread across Unity Nexus. Humans and Scifi, who had once kept to themselves, began to meet more. Engineers from both sides worked together on new projects, combining human tools with Scifi bio-machines. Jack found himself busier than ever, helping design systems that could use both kinds of technology. Selra often worked beside him, learning about human methods and teaching him more about her people's machines. The Scifi Council invited Jack to speak before them again. This time it was not to answer for a mistake, but to share ideas. For the future, Vorin stood as Jack finished his speech. "Your actions showed us the strength of working together. From this day forward, human and Scifi engineers will learn from one another. Let our tools and machines grow as one." The chamber filled with soft sounds of agreement. One evening, Jack and Selra stood on a balcony that looked out over the docking bays. Ships came and went, carrying goods and people between stars. "It's strange," Jack said, "how a simple tool almost tore us apart and then brought us together." Selra smiled. "It wasn't the tool, Jack. It was how we chose to see it and how we chose to see each other." Jack nodded. "I'm glad we had the chance." "As am I," she said. They stood in silence, watching the ships. The stars stretched on forever beyond them. But now, Unity Nexus felt smaller, not because it was broken or weak, but because the walls between people had come down. And so, the human and his alien roommate, who had once been divided by fear and misunderstanding, became a team that changed the future of Unity Nexus. Together, they showed that what matters most is not what we carry in our hands, but what we carry in our hearts.